everyone, welcome back. In this video we'll be talking about VNet peering. So let's go ahead and start. For this I have created a resource group called VNet peering. So if you want to create a resource, you have to just under resource groups you have to click create and add the relevant name. So here I have VNet peering since we are dealing with VNet peering today. So once that is done, you can click the VNet peering, and I have added a virtual network as well as virtual machine. So to create a virtual network, search for virtual network and select the appropriate virtual network and click create. And here make sure that you select the appropriate subscription and the resource group. Since we have created VNet peering, so click VNet peering, and coming to the name of VNet, so you can add it as VNet 2 or VNet 1 based on your preference, and make sure that it's in the same region, so it's East US. So once this is done, go to the IP configurations, and here you can see the IP configuration of this particular network, and here you have to add a subnet. So in this case I have let's add a subnet, so it will be the default, so I'll be adding a subnet by removing the default, so subnet 1, and in this case the subnet will be this one, so you have to just click add, so the subnet will be created, and just review and create it. So this is how the virtual network is created. So once you go back to VNet peering, so if I go to the VNet 1, so there you go. So this is the virtual network that we have created, and you can select the address spaces, so make sure that it's 1. So this is the other virtual network. So this is the address space of this virtual network. Sometimes whenever you add a new IP of v4, there will be a new one, so there will be a collision between these two. So make sure that it's 1 here. And coming to the subnets, so this is the subnet for this VNet 1. So if we go back and coming to VNet 2, this is what we have created just before. So this is the address space of this VNet 2 and the relevant subnets for that. So once the VNets are created, just go back and we have to create our virtual machines here. So coming to the virtual machines, similarly click create and add virtual machine, and here click virtual machine and click create Azure subscription VNet peering, and let's say it's VM let's say 3. Since I've already created 1 and 2, I'm just using VM 3. So you can see the default was US 2, so make sure that it's East US. And standard, here I have selected 2019 data center, and make sure that you add your username as well as password. Do remember this because we have to log into this virtual machine and see whether we can communicate with other virtual network. So once this is done, make sure that you go to the networking, and in the networking it's VNet 1, so and the relevant subnet. So similarly you have to create the other machine in which it will be instead of VM3 it will be VM4, and networking it should be the other one, VNet 2. So that is how you can create the virtual machine. So let's go back VNet peering, and if we see the resource visualizer, you can see, so this is the visualization of our network. So you can see the both are independent of each other, so they have their own network here. The VM is connected to VM 2 and the VM1 is connected to VNet 1. So these two are different, so they won't be able to contact with each other. So let's try in practical whether they are able to connect with each other. So in this case I have already logged into my VM2. So this is the VM2. So if I go back, so if I click VNet overview, and since we are in VM2, let's go to the VM1 and see the IP. So this is the particular IP, copy that, and here, so let's delete this one and let's go to the command prompt and ping just a second. Ping 10 point, let me check again, I just forgot. So it's 10.1.04, 10.1.04. so technically this should not go through. So the ICMP packets are not moving further since these two are not connected. As you can see, the request timed out since the both are not connected to each other. So now let's try to use the pairing concept and connect the both. So let me stop this. So I have stopped this, and you can see packet sent but received is none. So the two packets have been lost. So let me minimize this, and let me go back to the VNet pairing, and in this case let's go to the VNet 1. So in the VNet 1 you can see there is a column called pairing. So click the pairing and here click add. So coming to the virtual network name, since we are in VNet 1, let's add it as VNet 1 to VNet 2, and I'll be keeping everything as default. And coming to remote virtual network, so it will be VNet 2 to VNet 1. So I've added this, and I'll be adding VNet 2. Since we are in VNet 1, we'll be adding VNet 2. So let's add that. So the VNet 2 has been paired, so it's connected. So now let's look into the resource visualizer, and you can see there is a connection between our VNets. So if you zoom in, you can see our VNets are connected to each other. So now let's try to do the same. So if I go to the, let's do with the same command. So initially two packets have been sent, but all the packets have been lost. So according to the docs, it mentioned that the firewall may stop. So I'm using a command where okay, we have added a firewall rule. So so you can see now we were able to connect. Initially it was request timed out where the packets have been lost, but when we were trying to ping to from VM1 to VM2, it is working now. So we are getting reply, and the sent packets are 4 and the received are 4, so there is 0% loss. So if you go back here, so that is how it works, the pairing concept. So since coming to the visualizer, if you remember so in the previous visualizer it was totally different, where the two virtual networks were not connected with each other, and we were able to connect it using pairing concept. So once these two were connected, we were able to communicate with these different machines in different virtual network. So basically the Windows firewall was stopping it, but using few commands we were able to overcome that. So I'll be adding those links in the description so that you can also work with that. So if we talk about VNet peering, VNet peering in Azure is a feature that allows you to connect two virtual networks within the Azure. So when two VNets are paired, they appear in one network, which means that the resources in one VNet can communicate with resources in the other VNet using their private IP address. So VNet peering is a private, secure and low latency, which means that the traffic between the two VNets doesn't go over the public internet. So the feature is useful for scenarios such as connecting VNets in different subscriptions or the regions, enabling communication between different applications or the services, or merging two different virtual networks into a single VNet, which is easier to manage, and better control. So that is what we can see in this visualizer. And I hope you guys understood the concept of today's video. If you have liked the video, please click the like button below, and if you want to subscribe my channel, please do subscribe my channel, and please share the video. Thanks everyone.